George's Voice is a crucial charity offering support to young women and their mental health. Sophie Alway founded George's Voice and now offers support to young women across Cornwall, with 10 groups meeting weekly. That's a lot. Sophie joins us now to tell us more. Thank you very much for this. Appreciate you coming in. 10 groups weekly?
So there's 10 groups. Some of them are weekly, some of them are fortnightly.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really powerful to see that in Cornwall as well.
Yeah.
And have it here, because I feel like Cornwall does miss out on opportunities like that. Do you want to tell us your experience about, forming it? It's so selfless and inspiring,
Yeah, of course. So George's Voice is a charity that I set up. It's the legacy of my daughter, Georgia Galloway. Georgia really suffered with her mental health, and we just really struggled to get the support that she needed. And then the support that we did manage to get for her during the lockdown, the pandemic, it kind of either got taken away or greatly reduced, along with her routine, the things that she knew were good for her mental health. She had gotten in quite a good routine of work. She had joined the gym, drinking lots of water, eating nourishing foods, having a good bedtime routine. And then along came the lockdown. Everything was closed. You weren't allowed to leave the house. And then she was kind of up all night, sleeping all day, not drinking water, not eating at all, not showering, lots and lots of things. It just kind of was a downward spiral, really. Yeah, she really, really struggled with that. And, we were just kind of getting to the end of the first lockdown. And I thought, oh, great, she's got a date for going back to work. And hopefully her counselling will be face-to-face again. But, that didn't happen. She took her own life just before the end of the first lockdown. So, yeah, I just felt so helpless. I was like, oh, God, I couldn't quite believe that I kept looking forward to the end of this lockdown thinking we'll get back on track. And then it was like, I can't help anymore. There's nothing else that I can do. And that helpless feeling was just awful. And then I started kind of going online, doing a little bit of research, realising how many people were suffering with their mental health, young women especially, and young men as well, of course. But and to find out that suicide was the leading cause of death in our young people in the UK I found that just so shocking. I couldn't quite believe it. I still find that really shocking now. So I thought, gosh, yeah, she can't be the only one in this situation that is struggling to find the help and support that she needs. And I kind of thought, well, why can't I could do something, and that's where the idea first came around. I thought, well, yeah, I can help. And I wasn't exactly sure what that was going to be at that time. But yeah, so that's where it came from. Decided to set up George's Voice and to run these support groups for young women in Cornwall aged 18 to 25.
Amazing.
To find such sort of passion, I suppose, to find the strength from such sorrow takes so much. When you've had so much taken out of you already, I can't even begin to try and work out how you must have felt and how hard that must have been. But it's fantastic that you have, because you are helping so many people. I often now I'm Penryn based. I often see your shop in Falmouth. I walk past. But even before Chaos, I think I started sort of seeing and hearing bits and bobs about George's Voice. I learnt the story of it a while ago, so I knew what we were going to be talking about today. It's a very heavy one, and the fact that you're still going and helping so many people is fantastic. I mean, we say fantastic, amazing, at lots of different things, but I can't truly state how amazing it really is. When you started this, did you have any sort of idea of how to go about it? Did you have any sort of first steps that you took that really helped things get going?
I had no clue. I'd never run a charity shop. A charity shop. I'd never run support groups. All of this was so new to me, and I was kind of going online thinking, okay, so if we're going to do support groups, what kind of training is there? And there is no kind of specific facilitator training. So it was basically kind of going on, doing tons of research and thinking, well, what do we need to be safe? Because we're not there in a professional capacity. We are there to kind of listen, signpost, refer to other services. But that being listened to by somebody without judgment, with empathy, is so important. So I thought, right, what do we need to be safe? So basically, me and all of our facilitators, we have an enhanced DBS check, suicide first aid, mental health first aid, assist, safeguarding. So, that we do have that knowledge. And, more importantly than that, every single one of us has lived experience. So
it's incredible.
Yeah. Something you said there as well, that we go on about so much here at Chaos TV, and I'm sure people get sick of hearing it, but it's something that until the problem's fixed, we ain't going to stop talking about it. And that's that people do need that space to be able to talk, to not worry about being judged, to be able to talk completely openly, and just get some kind of stress relief just from that talking is enough sometimes, or at least the start of a positive path forward.
And the fact that, everyone at some point in their lives, statistically, will have a period of depression, or will have a period where they're really low or just upset. And it's really surprising, actually, that there isn't any. I was surprised that there's not any training for being just a facilitator, just to be able to know how to have those conversations, to know how to connect with people who are, really vulnerable. Because, how important is that just as a life skill as well, dealing with your own grief and everything like that.
It's lovely to hear about all the training you've got as well. The mental health first aid. That's the one.
Yes.
Did you say suicide prevention first aids as well?
Suicide first aid and assist, which is applied suicide intervention safety training.
First time I've heard of that one.
Yes, that one's really powerful because you actually go in and do a bit of role play as well, like of talking someone down from suicide, and it's kind of learning. A lot of people are scared of people with mental health, and they think like they're gonna hurt you when actually they're only generally a danger to themselves. So it's giving you that confidence, knowing that if they've got it in their head that they're going to take their own life, you can't possibly say anything that's going to make that situation worse. So the first thing is having that confidence to go in and kind of talk to people, but then it teaches you ways, questions to ask, to highlight, what it is that's kept them going so far, and then, going on from there, sort of, So...
Do you have any, in a short kind of condensed version, I suppose, do you have any top tips if you're in that really high pressure situation with someone who might have told you that?
Just to be there, keep talking to them. The longer you're talking to them, most people, if you can keep them talking for long enough, they will change their mind. It's you're not there for that. It's not your responsibility. If someone does do something, it's not going to be because of something that you've said. If they are adamant and they are going to do it anyway, that's not on you if they kind of did that. But just to keep on talking to them, showing them that there are people that care, that they do matter to somebody.
That's lovely. No. So this is, we're barely into this, and it's so hard hitting, but it's fantastic to be able to get this information. As I mentioned previously as well, you've got 10 groups, some weekly, some fortnightly.
Yeah.
Soon to be 11, I hear.
Yeah, well, we've actually got several more groups starting soon because we were really lucky. Last year we got some funding from the lottery.
Amazing.
And we've just had a little bit more from the Invictus Trust, which is amazing. So we've had some money there in the pot for the initial start-up, training the facilitators, paying for your venue costs and things like that. So, we've got a few more opening soon, actually. And, eventually, hopefully, the plan is that every young woman in Cornwall can easily access a group without having to travel too far. So
that would be amazing. Because, transport in Cornwall, we're having a rail strike.
We've just gone full circle. We were talking about this earlier as well.
It takes so long to get anywhere in Cornwall.
It does.
So
it isolates people.
It really does.
And that also has a knock-on effect with mental health as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I tell you what, it does sound, just being in a group of women and just feeling that is a safe space to be able to have a
Yeah.
discussion, you must have some incredible,
Yeah.
powerful.
It is so powerful. I can't even tell you, there's so much emphasis on all the time on telling people to talk, to open up, but that's only any good if there's someone there to listen. And the thing is, a lot of people don't actually know how to listen. So when someone's telling them something, they straight away want to fix it. And a lot of the time, I've been guilty of this as a parent. Your teenager's telling you something, they're going through something, you're like, that's okay, we can do something about that, blah, 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 blah. And what you're actually doing is invalidating their feelings. You're not allowing them, you're shutting them down, you're stopping them from talking.
Yeah.
So it's much better to just sit there and just listen to the whole thing and not necessarily even offer any advice. Sometimes in the groups, we're not offering advice, we're just sitting there and just listening, and they just feel so much like, we can't quite often do a check-in and a check-out, and on the check-in it's like, not good, not feeling great,
Yeah.
And then at the end they'll be like, I feel better, I feel lighter, I feel a little bit happier than when I came in, and that was just from perhaps 10 minutes of going, bleh.
Sometimes you need
Getting
to
it all
blur.
out. Yeah.
It can be really refreshingly powerful. And the listening is something that one of my really close friends has taught me so much about, because I have spoken to him and he will just sit there and just not say anything, but just listen to me and just nod. And it makes me emotional, because it's just like when someone actually does that, but that they're not listening to reply, they're just listening to you. And just giving you that space, and oh my God, it's a different experience, and
it's validation
amazing.
of your feelings, isn't it? And feeling valued.
Yeah.
It also gives somebody a chance to almost explain it from a different perspective, because when you're explaining something to someone, you're already in a different perspective in your headspace, and when you do that, sometimes you can find solutions or part way to a solution just by having that person to explain to.
Yeah.
It's oddly a methodology I use in programming, of all things, but it's the same sort of practice. You put your headspace into a different perspective, and sometimes that alone is so helpful. And it's great to see that there's more and more of these type of groups coming up. It's lovely to see that the more we talk about this, there's more in the media you see these days talking about mental health, and there's more awareness.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near where we need to be yet these days. There's still this massive stigma and worry of when we want to talk to people. But I feel like there's enough people now pointing in the right direction that it can't be ignored, especially if it's getting into the big media now. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a value in connections. Groups like this, perfect for providing a support network. Do you work with other organisations, though? Because obviously we have a lot of groups here at Chaos we connect with, we work with, we see other groups working together, and it's always great to see that, because I find if groups are trying to work against each other or don't talk to each other, people get lost in the gaps, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we really pride ourselves on that, on making ourselves aware of all of the other groups and organisations that are out there, as well as the professional services, so that when these girls come in and they have issues and they don't know where to go for help, that we can say, okay, yes, we're here. We have a team of counsellors as well.
Fantastic.
So that's something else that we have. But also, referring and saying to them, do you know Cornwall Mind have a community cafe? Do you know that you can go here, you can go there? And just letting them know about everything. Because sometimes, even if the groups are weekly, 7 days is a long time before the next meeting. So it's quite good if you can get them going along to another group or going to therapy, or just so we really make ourselves aware of everything in the local area to that group.
Do they quite often make any friends and more connections and feel less isolated?
Yes, that's one of the things. It makes me cry sometimes when I see the girls meeting up outside of groups, and we've had a couple of girls that have come along and they're like, "This is the first time I've had friends," and it's just it's so lovely. I was really worried working with this age group and bringing big amounts of young girls together. There'd be a lot more kind of
Cliquiness.
Conflict and personality clashes and things like that. But everyone seems to know why we're there, and even if you wouldn't naturally normally spend time with these people, everybody knows that in our groups we all are there for the same reason, and that we need to treat each other with kindness, and they're always so welcoming when a new person comes in. They're so friendly, and everyone makes an effort to make everyone feel really comfortable. So
I feel like when you've got a lot of people coming from lots of different backgrounds as well, you're taking people out of what would be like a known clique, a known group, and they suddenly are. It's just individual at that point.
Yeah.
And I feel that opens people back up to.
It can be the best thing sometimes.
Being able to
can't
talk.
it?
Yeah. Very nice. I feel like if you've got your group of friends, you might feel pressure because you know each other too well. You might not want to talk so much to them. Sometimes you can be lucky. I must admit, I'm one of those people. Really good group of friends. Mental health is a big thing we talk about all the time. Really lucky on that. But I feel like that's rare. It'd be lovely to have that a bit more. But also, I know we often get a lot of groups around that are either all male or female, and you obviously get people say, "Oh, that's not very progressive. We should be able to do it." Well, sometimes though, that is very much needed. I mean, look at the group at the farm. Is it Men at Work?
Yes,
Men
at Work.
Outside.
Yeah.
Sorry, Men Outside. That's an all-male group down at the farm, and it helps them feel less of the typical male stigma. Able to chat a bit more amongst themselves and. I think it goes all ways.
We have really defined roles in society, I think, and I think that there is a lot of pressure sometimes to act in certain ways. So I think when you're in a group of women, it feels very different to when you're in a group of men, from my perspective.
No, that's fair.
And I feel like I would probably act differently according to both of those situations.
Yeah.
So I think, if I was going to talk openly about mental health, which I do quite often, because as I was saying, in my live streams, I always make sure to tell people and to say, it's really important, if no one's told you today you're loved. And sometimes just saying that to someone can really make a big difference.
Absolutely.
But I know that you offer activity days out and about too. So what sort of things are those?
Sounds good.
So lots of different things. We quite often get people approach us and say, we do this, would you like to get involved? I mean, we do walk and talks. We've had people put on yoga classes for us. We've got a clay pottery workshop coming up soon with our Truro group. Well, gosh, we have done so many things. We've done like water sports in the summer,
That's
just
amazing.
anything that promotes good mental health. We regularly talk to our members and say, what do you want to do? What would you like to do? It's got to promote good mental health, but what would you like to do? And they're really good at coming up with ideas, and we try and do as many of those as possible. A lot of places give us a great discount because we're a charity, so that's good. But if it is something that's a bit expensive, then we do a bit of fundraising. We get the girls involved with doing fundraising and get them coming up with ideas for that as well.
Sometimes it's about being part of a movement or a group, isn't it? Sometimes it's just that inclusion, that feeling of actually I'm a part of something.
Yes.
And I've got that kind of sense of purpose, which I think is so important when you're in that mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. There's a lot of talk as well about water and mental health, isn't there?
Yes. Oh, we teamed up with the Sea Sanctuary before, and they have that blue ethos.
Is that what it's called? The blue ethos?
With mental health with the sea, and so we've done like day sales with them, and we actually did one residential trip as well, so hoping to do a few more this year. But it's really hard to feel depressed when you're out on a boat in the middle of the ocean, like with the fresh air, and it's just you can forget all your troubles for that small amount of time. It's pretty amazing.
The ocean, weirdly, I feel the ocean is a really grounding place. I do find that
it is.
It's actually really funny because my dad, I've only just noticed this as a trend. Every time that I've ever been down or gone through a particularly harsh breakup or just been really depressed and low, my dad always takes me to the sea. And always takes me for a dog walk on the sea. And it's weird because you feel small because the ocean's so big, but it also diminishes your feeling of because it's like actually the world is so big, and it's like it just makes you feel like, wow, this is actually incredible. There is so much to this. Yeah.
We've had a message in from Saga G saying learning to listen is just a skill, just like anything else. I think this is going back to earlier when we was talking about how what you wanted to do and how you wanted to learn how to do things, and there wasn't that sort of support there. But it's still learning, and absolutely.
Yeah. It's something I feel like we should teach a lot more. Like I do really genuinely think that mental health coping skills and coping mechanisms should be taught in school.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It'd really help a lot of people, I think.
Well, talking of people listening and your facilitators that you've talked about before, I can imagine they all sort of share quite a passion for mental health among young women.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're so lucky. We have an amazing group of facilitators. Like I say, they all have lived experience, which is so important. But yeah, they're all so passionate. Everybody, yeah, we've got an amazing team. They're great.
Fantastic. It's got to be key, hasn't it? Especially this kind of sensitive subject, if you haven't got some kind of passion for it, it's not going to work, is it? Mm-hmm. And you starting this with obviously with the reasons that you've got for it and the passion behind it, it was always going to be worthwhile and so successful. And clearly in what you're doing, you've got a lot going on, a lot coming up in the amount of groups you've got coming up as well. It's really just great to hear this. It's lovely to chat to you, by the way. I can't get over actually chatting to you, the amount I've heard about you outside of Chaos.
I heard you're starstruck.
Once again. But yeah, there's no really one right answer to this, but in your experience, would you say there are any good methods of caring for your own well-being? Because you can look after people as much as you want. If you don't look after yourself at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to look after someone else.
Self-care is so important, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes when they hear that. But that's not just like yoga, meditation, things like that. Quite often, actually, when you're suffering with your mental health, when you take it back to basics and look at your basic needs, they're quite often not being met. You haven't got a good bedtime routine. You're not sleeping. You're not drinking enough water. You're not eating nourishing foods. You're not getting outside every day. You're not doing any exercise. And if those real basic needs aren't being met, I'm not saying that if you do all of those things, your mental health is going to be perfect. You can do all of those things and still struggle, but it's a great start.
It makes a massive difference.
And it's going to make a huge detrimental difference if those basic needs aren't being met. So that's kind of the first thing. When there's someone struggling in group, quite often we get to the first one and say, do you have a good bedtime routine? Are you sleeping? No. Okay, let's tackle this one first, and we talk about things like that in group. About what other people do and how do you wind down for bed and things like that.
Watching TikTok for 3 hours.
You'd be really, really surprised how changing little things like that, getting your devices out of your bedroom, not having your uni work in your room, a little bit of lavender sleep spray before you go to sleep, having a bath and not going on your phone for an hour before bed and things like that. Just little things actually make a huge difference.
I hate admitting that you're right to that one. I really, really do. Only thing I can't do is that lavender thing. As we found out when we tried that once, I'm allergic to it.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
That was great.
No, you wouldn't sleep
well.
That
was a lovely day. Nice. No, it wasn't. Anyway, sprayed it around the entire house. We've got some photos now from your socials. Could you? I have no idea, by the way. We haven't seen these at all.
We haven't.
Could you let us know what is about to pop up on the screen? Let's have a look.
Okay. Yeah. So this was a wellbeing activity day that we did really recently, which was a wild food forage.
Ooh.
Down at the beach. We had a wild food teacher called Cleo, and she met up with us and she taught us all about which plants were safe to eat, and then we went round, we foraged, we collected some food, then we went down onto the beach. Seaweeds also, so we did land first, then sea. Oh, there you can see, that's the seaweed.
Hey.
And then we built a fire and we cooked some of it and we made a salad and then we sat around the fire and that was the fire.
So you took some seaweed from the beach and just cooked it there and then?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. We made a soup, a potato thing and a little salad. It was lovely. And this was one of, I think this was Red Ruth Group. They went and did a walk and talk at the beach. Yeah, and they took down some bubbles and different things. Yeah, it was just nice to kind of get out of that. Because most of the groups obviously indoors, but in the summer we get outside as much as possible. We might meet at the regular venue, but then go off and have a walk, which is nice.
It all links as well, doesn't it? When you have a good day out and you've had a good day out, you get home, you can do your bedtime routine.
Yeah,
because you're tired enough for it.
You're tired, you're done.
Yeah.
So I know you and a team of your awesome Georgia's Voice facilitators headed out for a marathon, or they're heading out for a marathon walk.
Yes.
Now, I don't get this right. Marathon and walk. I think marathon, I think running, and then marathon walk. Maybe I could do that. I don't know.
Walking marathon?
It's surprisingly hard to do a marathon walk because it takes about 9 hours. That's a whole day of walking. And, you know, so this is one of our fundraisers that we really wanted to get our members involved with, you know, and lots of them get out and do walking already, you know, but some really struggle with leaving the house and probably don't even regularly normally walk a mile a day. So to then go and walk 26 miles, that's a massive thing. That's huge, you know, and we're doing it together. We're doing it as a team.
Lovely.
So, yeah, the girls wanted to raise some money to do some wellbeing activities over the summer. So I said, right, well, we need to get the money together then. So, yeah, so we're going to do this fundraiser.
We've got it here now on the screen for you. This is, if you want to find these guys, how can they actually find you on GoFundMe? Do they go to the GoFundMe.com site and search for Georgia's Voice?
You can, or so on our Instagram page, which is Georgia's Voice UK, the link is in the bio on there. And then on the Facebook page, I've got it pinned to the top of the page. Perfect. And I will be sharing it regularly.
Amazing.
We'll be looking out for that.
Yeah. And where can they find Georgia's Voice for more information?
Oh, plug away. Social media, phone numbers. This is it. Go mad.
Okay. So we have a website, which is www.georgiasvoice.co.uk. Everything you could want to know about Georgia's Voice is on there. Okay. We're on Instagram as well. Georgia's Voice UK, and then we're on Facebook, Georgia's Voice UK as well. And on Facebook, under the events section, you can actually find every single one of our groups, the location, the time, and then we post on that page if there's any kind of variations as well, you know, if for any reason a group's not going ahead, which doesn't happen very often, but yeah, so I think that's everywhere that we...
So well organised. I like that. Brilliant. Sophie, thank you so much for coming in. Obviously, very sensitive subject, and it's amazing to hear the so much awesome stuff that you're doing. Yeah. I must admit, personally, I lost a friend from school not too long ago, and I saw that what the family were doing was asking for donations to Georgia's Voice.
Oh wow!
Which again, I see you for positive. So this is sadly
you're a
negative
celebrity
reasons
in Pudge as
everywhere,
well.
but it's all for the good reasons. So thank you so much for everything that you do and everything that all of your group members do, all your facilitators and everyone you work with. It's so lovely to hear about it. We've actually got now a short video from your website all about Georgia's Voice. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Sophie and I'm the founder of Georgia's Voice. Our support groups are small, free, friendly and confidential meetings for young women with mental health concerns. We aim to provide a safe space where you can come and talk or not talk, listen or just be. A place where you be around others who have an understanding of your feelings, who want to help you, a place where you will never be judged. When I was around 10 or 11, unhappy at home and school, I often acted out, got drunk and even took an overdose at the age of 14. I had a small time frame of slight relief from my issues after leaving home and school, although I still often abused alcohol and eventually went to the doctors at age 19 when my mental health had deteriorated to the point I had suicidal thoughts once again. I spent many years on antidepressants, which I would still often mix with alcohol, not realising how much this fed my anxiety and depression. My friend started a boot camp in 2016, which was the beginning of me turning my life around. I discovered with regular exercise and healthy food, I felt so much better and managed to wean myself off antidepressants totally, for the first time in 15 years. One of my beautiful daughters, unfortunately, also suffered massively with her mental health. And even though we as a family tried so hard to help and support her, it was a battle she found so overwhelming, she felt the only option was to make the devastating decision to take her own life. From that day, I've not drunk a single drop of alcohol and never plan to again. I vowed to try and help as many young girls as I possibly can to stop this from ever happening again. No one should feel that the best or only option is suicide, and no family should ever have to suffer the devastating heartbreak of losing someone they love to suicide. There is a real lack of easily accessible help and support out there for young people these days, so I decided, with the help of many other fantastic friends and family, to do something about it. We will provide workshops and information days explaining things that can promote good mental health and positive emotions. We can help with providing a range of therapies and helplines, and even put you in touch with the right people should you want to get back into education or employment. If you want to come along to a group but you're feeling scared, please don't worry. Everyone will know how you're feeling because they will once have had to come for the first time themselves. Just reach out, send a message instead. Just please take that first step and get in touch. There's one thing I really want you to remember and to stick in your mind, is that you matter.
So, how powerful was that?
That was amazing. Sorry, I got distracted by a shadow in my head. I was like, what is on my face right now?
It's probably the flags.
That was
It's probably the
incredible.
flags.
That was so powerful. She was an amazing woman.
To be able to come in and talk about it as well, it's something that won't ever obviously leave her. It's going to always be hard to talk about, but she's found that passion to help other people through this horrible sort of negative emotion. She's sort of put it to a positive use, and that's not easy.
No.
But-
And it's just, she was so proactive with it. And it was nice to see that level of commitment to young people in Cornwall as well, because sometimes it's not a place that's sometimes catered for young people.
I find it's
You know?
either young people helping young people or the older generation helping the older generation. You don't see too much connection like that.
No, there isn't. And then there's this grey area where it's like middle-aged people who moved down from a country and then they just...
Let's not go into that, my goodness me.